I have to ask you, like, what is it like dating you? Do you ever, do you date, or even are you open to at least peeling a little bit of that book open to let us into? But is that how is that for you? Because you're not the average guy. So what does it mean to like date in the space as a dreamer, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as a professional? Yeah, like
Um,
what does that look
so
like?
as many people may know, I've been engaged.
Yeah.
I've done the build the home. Dating me, one, people think I live this wild, and I have a ton of friends
You do
and
have a
all.
ton of friends.
I have people know me or I know them, but I
So I want to ask many of you if you will go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, click the button, and I'll see you at Relationship Place. And welcome to Relationship Place. It is exciting for us to be and connect in this space where we really talk about the power and the essence of relationships, because I believe no one should feel or even believe that you need to navigate life by yourself. How we grow, how we even become successful, it is through partnership. When we come together, we're able to build destiny. So that in this partnership or in this relationship, we can expand and explore and do some extraordinary things together. So, again, welcome to Relationship Place. And so today I'm so excited to really dive into our first guest on Relationship Place, who is an entrepreneur. He is an influencer. He is also now an educator, which is a new space for him. But many of you know him as the founder, the originator. I don't know why he's looking like that, but he's the founder and the originator of what, Antonio?
speak out.
Speak Out. I mean, I didn't know if you got lost on what I was talking about, but he's the founder and originator of a Speak Out. And Speak Out has this amazing event that I have been privileged to be a part of over the last now 3 years. Am I correct?
3 years.
Which is I Am. And I thought that the I am is so profound because I'm a person who do affirmations every day, and I affirm myself as I am brilliant, I am smart. Just all of the things that I believe are necessary to helping us focus and fulfill purpose. And so as we begin to dive into this interview today, first of all, welcome Antonio Driver to Relationship Place.
Thank you so much, Pastor Sammie, for having me.
So, Antonio, I think it was no other option for me other than to start with you and really talk about some of the amazing things that you have coming up. But before we get into one major step that you actually are doing this year, first of all, I want to go back to the beginning, the
Okay.
origin, the start. How did Speak Out come to be? And then why do you think it was necessary to create a space called Speak Out?
Well, like anything, I don't think Speak Out was intended when we go into it to be what it is today. I think
Yeah.
I went into it thinking about, I just want a Facebook group to talk about relationships and just to connect to people. I knew I was moving to Washington, D.C., and I really was longing for like connection, not necessarily like intimate relationship, but just connections with friends and finding things to do. And Speak Out was birthed through that. It was a spinoff group of another group that I did not want to lose those connections, and so it was important that we kept that going. And so here we are now, where we've had grants, state grants, local grants, federal. We've been funded to do a multitude of things. We've had chapters in Dallas, Atlanta, North Carolina, and it all just, I guess when, like I always tell people, when you are walking in your purpose or what you need to do, doors just open.
Right.
And sometimes when those doors open, you have no clue what's behind them. And so that is really what Speak Out was supposed to be. Initially, Speak Out, the show, it was just supposed to have been a show called Speak Out with Antonio. A lot of people remember I used to just go around to clubs and different events interviewing people.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore, but it was just the involvement of where we are now. I guess I was just trying to find my way and connect with people.
I think you've done so well with just finding your way and connecting with people, because I also know just if we go a little bit farther in your formative years of growing up, it was not always the most beautiful story, but it was a necessary story for us to see and witness what we see today. And I have to ask you, because I think sometimes people see your glory but don't always understand your story. They want your view but don't understand what you really had to sacrifice in order to create Speak Out, in order for you to even finish your degrees and do what you're doing now. And I just want you to just share just a little bit, if you're willing, just like your formative years. When you look on that, do you ever get surprised, like, I made it out of this?
Yeah, like if you would have asked, I'm 36 now, if you'd have asked my 16-year-old self that I would be doing the things that I'm doing now, I would never believe you. I would have never believed. No one's willing to follow me or, trust me with visions and different things like that. And just going back, growing up in the foster care system in Flint, Michigan, just being out. I came out, or if I was trying to find myself very publicly at a very young age, by 10, 11, I knew who I was. I knew who I was attracted to. Then being in the foster care system and going through the abuse of, families not understanding you at that time. Then just also dealing with the rejection of your parents not wanting you and trying to understand why they didn't want you or understand what they were going through, all while navigating finding yourself. Ballroom was a huge huge piece of my life. A lot of people don't know I was in ballroom for many years. I mean, I guess they say I'm legendary. I won't say my ballroom names. You go Google it. But anybody who was in ballroom,
go ahead and say it so we can Google you.
Ballroom was a huge piece of in the early 2000s, and I was a part of it for 10, 11 years, where I met some amazing people. But then I dealt with the loss of those people, from the HIV epidemic or drugs and different things. But those people are the keys, and they talk about the keys to who I am. And I think someone even said it last night. Those are some of the giants of shoulders I stand on that I can see when we're talking about, like, if you know ballroom, you know Paris Dupree, and if you really know ballroom, Ross Infinity, who was my hugest supporter, and Devin Elite, who are, I'm sure they're all smiling, and I can go on and name some other people, but I would have never believed that I would be the founder and CEO of an organization, being the first to lead a county's LGBTQI plus office, like some of the other things, directing films and projects. Like, I never would have believed that.
Yeah, thank you for giving us that ballroom education that you just slid in there as well. That was really good. But I also want to lift, like, this whole thing. Do you think that God had a purpose for guiding you through all of what you went through foster care, through ballroom, through just navigating your way from New York all the way to DC? And I would just put this in there. I believe one time we were getting to talk a little bit more about your New York experience. However, I didn't understand it because you scaled it in a way that it sounded a little glamorous. But then one day we really had a conversation about your experience in New York, and I found out there were a lot of details in there were not so pretty. They were very sketchy. And when you look at where you are now, because I also want people to understand, do you believe God was guiding you?
I absolutely.
Or protecting you?
Yeah. No, I absolutely believe it couldn't have been nothing but God, because I've been in situations where I'm literally like, I don't know who gonna fix this, how life and death situations, how I'm going to get out of this.
Yeah.
And in some way, in that moment, God shows up. Like there's been times, of course, I've talked to you personally about, there was a time where I lived in my car
Wow.
in the dead middle of New York. I mean, in dead middle of winter in New York, where I lived in my car.
Wow.
You know, I've lived where places where roommates were on drugs, and I just happened, and I had gotten depressed in New York. A lot of people,
Wow.
where I would go to work because I had a job, but it just didn't pay me enough to sustain. Where I would go to work and I would come home every day, and just so happened a friend of mine came in town one time, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to go take me out, and we can just get out the city." And I'm like, "I really don't want to, but I'll do it for you," because this was a really close friend. And that one time, some people had broke into the apartment and really just, it was my roommate. They really beat him up very badly. And on
Wow.
my way walking back to the apartment, I see about 9 ambulances and about 10 police cars, and I'm like, "Why is all these people outside my house, outside the house?" And I go up the stairs, and some people are like, "Yeah, they're in your apartment." And I'm like, and so I go up, and my roommate, and rest his soul, he's going out unrecognizable. Like they'd beat this boy to like,
Wow.
and it was terrible. But just so happened, just that day, I just happened to be going, and he didn't even know I was going. He thought I was in the room sleep, and I'm just like, there are so many things, but that lets me know I have purpose. Like, and this is before I got to I Am or Speak Out or any of the great things, or
Right.
really finishing my degree. I knew
Right.
I still had purpose. So that lets me know that God was guiding my steps in that way, you know. So whatever it was, he knew that I need to move you out of this. And then just going back to adoption. Had I probably grown up with my family, my biological family, I might not be the Antonio that you all know me to be. Sometimes it's removing me to expose me to other things. And when I did get adopted, you know, it was with a better family that allowed me to explore who I was, and expose me to the importance of education, and expose me to people who cared about me. So I don't know if I would have got that at home. When I look at some of my siblings that didn't get adopted,
Right.
or didn't go into the system, you know. So, yeah.
Wow. You brought up some very valid points and some things that really reminds me of this whole scripture that our steps are ordered by the Lord, and we don't always understand the direction, the steps. But I feel like in due time we will, and we just stay in the process. And I'm glad you literally have stayed in the process, leaned into the process, and look at where you are now. And I will have to ask you, like for you now, when you think about Speak Out and the guys that you are able to reach and connect with through that agency, and even through your platform as a leading face for the LGBT plus community there in DC and Prince George's County, what is the message?
I think that the message that I have is that anything is possible. I think the message is that, you know, sometimes, and even now, you know, I have a story now where even in my high points, if you will, of life, where I've had some very low moments, and I'm like, I gotta trust God, you know, and I'm okay with sharing. Like even with a job I had, loved it, probably the highest job I had.
Yeah.
I understood that I had to walk away from that because it wasn't good for me, but I had to trust God in saying, when I left, I said, I'll be back. And in that moment, you know, I rolled the dice, and I put the faith in God's hand, and I'm on my way back to that job now.
Wow.
That I thought these people were trying to take it away from me, backstab me, all of these things, but I trusted the process. And I think the message is to continue to trust the process. And we say trust the process, but sometimes you're going through something to build you up for what really is what he's preparing you for. And I don't think that mentally and emotionally, had I not been through some of the things in New York or back at home in Flint or even in Ballroom, I would have mentally and emotionally been able to go through that process and say, I'm going to trust God again. I needed those things. Those are tools that I have. And people see me on Facebook, or they see me out with a nice suit or dress, but they don't really understand that there is so many layers behind that. And I can take the attacks because I was prepared.
Yeah.
I've been prepared.
Yeah. You said something again that was so very good, because I think that everything that we go through is making us stronger. Sometimes it may feel like it's making you weaker, but actually it's making you stronger. And there's a level of endurance in you that you will never really understand until the pressure is applied. And by the pressure that has been applied to you, you've been able to just continue to grow and expand. And we see it in everything that you do and accomplish. And for me, I think that's like amazing. For you, there's a level of resilience in you that maybe you don't even know. But just you sitting in this space and telling this story, we see it, we witness it even now. And so I have to just like shift the pace a little bit and just ask you this question because you're within this community, you're working within this community. I have to ask you, like, what is it like dating you? Do you ever, do you date, or even are you open to at least peeling a little bit of that book open to let us into? But is that how is that for you? Because you're not the average guy. So what does it mean to like date in the space as a dreamer, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as a professional? Yeah, like what does that look like?
So as many people may know, I've been engaged.
Yeah.
I've done the build the home. Dating me, one, people think I live this wild, and I have a ton of friends.
You do
and
have
all-
a ton of friends.
I have people know me or I know them, but I don't have like I'm a homebody. I'm a homebody. I enjoy like just being quiet, but I don't mind to turn up and going out. But if you leave it up to me, I'm at home. I'm chilling. I'm thinking about the next steps. I'm working on the next steps. Dating me, I'm open to dating. You know, I had a situation where I thought that, you know, more previously that I thought that was my person, and
Yeah.
maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But, you know, I'm open to anything. I used to be very closed off to a certain type of person. But now what I'm learning is that I just want a person to see me at the core, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, the dislike, and then choose me.
Okay, I just want to breathe in that moment right there because I think that is where I am, to be honest. And I think those two words, choose me, are so critical and important that I think many people are saying that out of everything. What you know about me, the good, the bad, the middle, at the end of the day, will you choose me above all others? And I think we get to a point, relationship wise, if we're looking for relationship, are open to sharing in partnership. Well, sometimes we miss this whole idea of what is our type to really lean more into, at the end of the day, can you support, partner with me in terms of what I need to be better, to accomplish, and I call it to build an empire with, or are you slowly taking away from me and causing me to not upgrade, but I'm downgrading in order to just say I'm in a relationship?
Yeah, and also, can I give you the same? Am I
Yeah.
able to meet you at the same spot? You know, or also understanding here's where I'm gonna fall weak, or here's where I'm gonna fall short, and I'm gonna need your support in that, and vice versa. I definitely think it's a two-way street. So my type of person now is somebody that
Yeah.
can be a two-way street with me and understand that. You know, it ain't always pretty. It ain't always up. It ain't always fun. It ain't always lights, camera, action.
Oh, please, it is not always lights, camera, action. And I know for me, and as a pastor, like it has its challenges because you're always wanting to find exactly what you're saying, that mutuality, I call it, where we choose each other and we understand at the baseline of all things. That it was something I heard the other day, that it's not always like this 50-50 piece. I've heard that from my parents, and I've heard that from other people. But what happened to the days when I don't have 50? What happened to the days when I may need you to be 70, 75, or maybe the 90, as Gabriel Union says?
Or 100.
Or I need to do the same for you, but I want you to be able to see into me close enough that you understand who I am, and vice versa. I understand who you are, so that we both will know how to come together in order to help and support and lift each other. That's a challenge for some people, but even where I am right now, I'm not giving up on that idea because I think it exists.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I always tell myself continue. I think it, and I think I requoted Maya Angelou says, continue to give love or can never give up on love and never give up on love again.
Yeah.
So I think the time you give up on love is when you stop trying. And sometimes it is not easy to get back out there and want to do it again. I was just saying to someone earlier, you're like, I don't want to have to get to know someone again and let them and learn their routines and open myself up. But I also know as I'm saying that, I'm giving up if I say I don't want to do that anymore. So I have to keep myself open and or do the work, but then keep myself open to the ideal of this person or and the ideal that someone will come along or I'll meet that person. Or I may have met them and just haven't given them the opportunity or really looked and said, oh, you've been here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I still believe in this whole concept still today that you can have it all. Like, you can literally have it all professionally and you can have it all relationally. Certainly, I believe you can have it all spiritually because I stand on the fact that we are more spirit than we are this flesh or human. But it's this spirit that within us that is so resilient in a way that I believe that you can have it all relationship-wise, and no matter who walks away, I have to be, as you said, consistent with staying open so that I can receive more. Because there's always a reason in my mind why something may dissolve or why a person may walk away. It's a reason, and it's not to. It may feel like it is not to destroy me or to take me under in a way that I can't recover, but I can recover. Like, I may need to give myself space to heal, space to make sure that I am doing what is necessary to make sure I'm physically well, mentally well, spiritually well, and emotionally well. Because I believe as Black men as well, we also have to sometimes sit down and talk it out. Communication is very key. We don't always talk a lot. And secondly, we don't always feel.
Yeah. And life is meant to be felt. Life is meant
to be felt.
Good, bad, ugly. I know what love feels like. I know what being in love feels like. I know what rejection and heartache and all of that. Like, I know those things so that when it does or when I know what I'm doing now. So I do appreciate those who have come before the person.
Oh God, yeah. I am learning, especially now this process that I'm going through, what it means to really feel. And what it means when I say disappointed, that means I am leaning into the fact that I am feeling the hurt. The hurt of being let down, the hurt of being sometimes this feeling of abandonment, that I need to really say, get yourself together.
Yeah.
Sometimes, as you quoted from Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Like, truly believe them and don't make an excuse for them, because it's easy to do that. And for me, the type of person I am, I just want to see the good in you anyway. So I'm always going to try to avoid the negative, because I just want to speak like positivity over your life. I want to speak wellness over your life. So I'm not going to necessarily go there. But sometimes I have to face the fact, the truth. It's staring me in my face. And so when you say certain things or you show me, I need to believe it as a fact. That's who you are. It's not fake.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time.
The
first time. Because I didn't have some situations
where I don't do it always on the first time. Let me be honest.
Yeah.
It may happen the third or fourth time, because I'm trying to give you, I'm not Jesus or nobody, but I'm trying to give you an opportunity to correct yourself. An opportunity in my head to say, they probably made a mistake there. Let me let that slip. Let me let that slide. But in reality, you are right. The first time I hear it, I need to say, you know what? I believe you. And that's true.
Yeah, and I mean, I pay attention to just to kind of go. I pay attention to a person and how they're talking about their exes or the past relationships, and I always ask myself, what's going to make me the exception when I cross that road or I step on them away or disappoint them? What's going to make me the exception?
Yeah. You know, the last thing I'm going to say about relationship, then we're going to move on to one of my final subjects of this conversation, is that I have learned that right now it's important for me in any relationship to feel safe. And that's one of the things I think I've said to you before, that me just knowing a little bit about who you are and your background, that no matter who it is, that if they are not creating a space where you are safe, because you need a safe foundation to stand on. I even preach it in church, because we need strong shoulders to stand on. We don't need one shoulder higher than the other, because if your one shoulder's higher than the other, I can't stand on your shoulder. It's not a solid foundation. I'm off balance. But if I can stand on a shoulder that is consistent, that I know if I fall, I got a safe place to land. And I can talk to you without feeling like I'm walking on eggshells, but it's safe for me to be. I think at that stage, that's healing. And at my stage, it's necessary. Have they ever made sense to you, even currently, where it doesn't matter how beautiful a person may be, or even how they may make you feel in certain areas of your life, but if it's not safe, I don't know if I should be there.
Yeah, and you'll feel that. Like I've met some amazing, attractive people, but they didn't make me feel comfortable. They didn't make me feel safe. So no matter what, it was just good to in that moment. But the long term, it did. You know, your anxiety is up. Like, what's really going on here? And that's always going to be in the back of your head. And so safety is important.
Safety is very important. So, you know, I really want to say to anybody like that is watching us now, that if you're not safe in a relationship or feel a level of peace and security in the relationship, you may need to evaluate where you are and where the relationship is, because there could be tools that are working in that relationship that are detracting from your brilliance, that are detracting from you being big, and you're actually shrinking yourself in order to fit in that relationship. However, I believe, even for those of you that are listening to us, like the spirit man in you is a woman, or them or they in you, is calling you higher. It's calling you to a place where you really get what you deserve, not just to appease someone, but really live the life you deserve.
Yeah.
So let me also get into something I really love. And I remember we started having this conversation maybe now 4 years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago, when you started talking about you wanted to. I remember you originally saying that you wanted to do like a garden party, something like a small get together for community that was sort of upscale. And then all of a sudden it really evolved into this black tie thing. But from your perspective, how did we even get to, well, I love the name I Am Awards?
Well, I mean, so the I Am Awards goes back. And I tell this story all the time. When we got to the I Am Awards, I went to Atlanta, Georgia, 2015, and I was amazed. Went to the Gentleman's Ball, and I saw all of these things, and I saw a leader, and Raheem Briggs. I saw a leader that from DC, and I'm like, we need something like this in DC. And he was like, yeah, we all got to get together and do something. And I'm just like, I want to make sure this happens for DC. Or happens. And so, you know, what was that? So 2016, 2017, we started to get, you know, funding, but it wasn't enough to make it happen. And then the I Am Awards actually should have taken place the year COVID came in.
Wow.
I think 2020 or 2019, we were planning the first one.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as big as the actual first one.
Wow.
But COVID came in and so we couldn't do it.
Yep.
And so 2021, we were trying to really rethink how do we do this, and just blessings came, funding came that we were able to do the first one. Support from like you gave guidance. I came down to Atlanta, and then Atlanta, and I saw I Elevate conference, and so I got a little bit more insight in the background of how to make this happen. And then it really worked, and it really worked out. It just worked out. I got funding. People came and supported, and that was just the birth of I Am Awards. I had no clue that it would take off how it did. Initially, my board of directors at the time said no. Wow. They told me no, I couldn't do an awards program, and they were like no. And so, but I was the executive director, so I'm in charge of programming for the organization. So I decided to create a program, and we, worked out the name. And so the board of directors is seeing this flyer pop up, like, what is this? Wow. And so at that point, it was already a go. And so the first I Am Awards actually was like a sneak. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna do it. And had, Vivica Fox came in and hosted Jay Lamar out here in LA. Keith Boykins jumped on, and then Avery Wilson, who's now a great friend of mine, and I talk to him here and there. It's like, yes, I'll come and do it. And just all these people came together to make it happen. And I think the first one was about 350 people were there. And a lot of people didn't know what they were coming to. They were just in support of me or the organization. But at that time, the organization had been around, 7 years, 7 years. So we had done some things in the community, but nowhere near where it is today. And so then, of course, year 2, I Am Awards, easy because we had done it, more funding. And then year 3.
Well, let me tell you now, year 2, wait, let me say this. Year 1, I thought it was extraordinary. First of all, for your first year doing something like that in DC, it was over 300 people, Black people.
Yeah,
that's really good. And the tickets were not like $50.
Yeah, that
was really good. And I would say year 1, I don't think people in DC even knew what they were coming to. I could look at the clothing and the styling to tell.
I mean,
they did not know what they were. They did not know what they were coming to. A couple of people had, mask over their face. That was a very interesting look. However, and then year 2 was like the number increased. I felt like it was like close to 400 there.
No, so we were at about 450. I'd say 475.
Because it was a packed room. And we almost had church.
Yeah.
We literally almost had church at the award show. If the band just knew just a couple of little chords.
I'm glad they didn't.
From the Clark sisters, we may would have tore that dog on.
I'm so glad they did not know.
We may would have tore up the I Am Awards because the I Am That I Am was coming up in there. But it was phenomenal, though, experience. And then we got to year 3. It was like, y'all really doing the thing.
We're smooth selling. We were at the MGM, and it worked. And people want, every year, people are looking forward to the I Am Awards. They're asking me what's next, who to honor. And the thing people don't realize, and I have to say this since it's on camera, people don't understand, it is a great deal of work. It is so much pressure.
Slow that part down. Because I don't think people realize what it takes to put on, not only black tie events, but any event. When you are the key curator, meaning that you're the organizer, the administrator, the booker, especially when you talk about the finance piece of it and negotiating with the hotels, negotiating the talent contracts. And then it's one thing to get people there, but it's another thing once it is over. Sometimes the headache of closing the books out is
Yeah, people don't understand the fundraising. People don't. IM Awards is being funded right now. Fundraising is the biggest piece. That's the piece people don't see.
Yeah.
The okay, how the show is going to flow, who's going to do this, and then you got 100 people coming at you. Can I perform? Can I do this? Can you honor this person? Can you? But everybody want money. Everybody want to charge you $1 million that you don't have, you know. And then the ticket sales only really cover maybe the meal, if that. And sometimes it's like, yeah, we're actually losing money, so we got to find out how to like cover that, because we don't want to overcharge the community. We want to keep it at a decent price for them too. But it is a great amount of pressure, and one detail, the smallest detail, can send the program completely left.
Oh, absolutely.
And so every year something goes a little off, but most of the time the audience don't know it. You know, it's the backstage, like, what the world is going on. But yeah.
Yeah, but you have a really great team that really helps and support that entire process of the IM Awards being a huge success. And it seems like every year it continues to grow and expand. So as we shift and get ready to close out this conversation, I do want to ask you, because you're more than just Speak Out.
Yeah.
And you're now an educator, but you're more than just an educator.
I am.
You're an entrepreneur. Well, the list just continues in terms of the many hats that you wear. But I also want to talk about what's new and next for you. Can you give us a sneak peek of what's new and next for you?
Well, you know, there is something new and next.
What are you dreaming right now?
Well, I'm putting in, the dream has already been dreamed. Now I'm putting it into action. There is something new coming out very, very soon, or not even coming out, getting ready to develop. I've been working on it. I've been going back and forth. A lot of my close friends know I went back and forth about a decision on if I want to do it or not. And sometimes you ask people to be and show up and represent you in a way that you're expecting them to do. But sometimes you have to understand that it's you that have to be that person to step out and lead and show others that they're capable of doing it. And so that's kind of the decision where I am right now. I won't necessarily go into it yet. There's a couple more conversations I gotta have. However, I'm ready. I'm excited. And you gotta be the change you want to see, and that's across the board. And so this step is not just for me. It's for anybody that is dreaming of doing things, but they feel like who they are, how they present themselves may prevent them from doing the things. And so I'm throwing myself out there once again, trusting God. And every day that I think, oh no, I'm feeling imposter syndrome, I get a message or something like, no, go ahead, this is the right move. I got a phone call last week that deterred me. It was like, no, I'm good, I'm not gonna do it. Then I got another phone call that said, no, keep going forward. And so it's keep going forward now for me. It's I'm all in.
Come on, all in.
Yeah, and it's maybe in about a month. I'll be out after the show. It'll be out, and I'm just looking for everybody to support me as I go forward with that.
Well, go forth and be all what you are called to be. I want to put on your minister hat before we close. And I want you...
No, you did not.
You guys know he is a minister.
My God,
he is a minister of the gospel.
Oh, Jesus. What are you about to do?
I'm just going to ask you a simple question, which you've already done it throughout the interview, which is focusing on the fact and just bringing it to the light that you are a minister. Yeah.
He wants to let you know that.
Yes.
I am a minister at Vision Los Angeles.
But no, let's not limit it to Vision Los Angeles.
Well, I am a minister. Yes.
In D.C., you're a minister. Wherever you go, you carry that mantle on your life. So let's pull on that mantle right now. For those that are listening to us and also want you to do me a favor, subscribe to Relationship Place with Pastor Sammie. Do me a favor and do that, please. But before we close it out, I want to pull on your hat as a minister. What can you say as a word of encouragement to any person that is listening to us right now? It can be in business. It can be in politics. It can be as an educator. It can just be simply speaking into their life. Any words of wisdom or empowerment?
Normally we say trust the process, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
add on to trusting the process
Yeah.
and feel the process.
Yeah.
Because every aspect of the process is preparing you for where you need to be to prepare you for the next step. And that's all I can give someone is my truth. And everything that I've said is everything that's happened for me. God has guided my steps, and I've trusted Him in that. But I've also felt those processes. I felt that. So when those feelings came back up, oh, I know what this is. This is rejection, but I know how to deal with rejection. Oh, I know what this is. This is love in this moment. Oh, I know what this is. This is friendship, or this is someone trying to test me. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna stand still right now. This is a moment where I don't move. This is a moment where I move real fast.
Yeah.
So, trust the process, but feel it as well.
I love that. Trust the process, but feel it as well. Thank you for listening. But also, before we leave, I want to encourage you, and I feel it even for me in this moment, for all of us to just breathe. Like, take a deep breath in and exhale. To exhale to the fact of something that Antonio referenced, to stand still and know that I am God. We don't have to rush through the process. It is not necessary for us to worry. It's not necessary for us to even shrink ourselves in order to fit in a box that's not designed for us. But what I believe is required for us in this season of our life is to trust the process and be attentive that our ears are open, our eyes are open, that we may know the pace of God, that we may know when it's time to speed up, and when it's time to slow down. So, as we close, thank you for being a part of this first episode of Relationship Place. We're so excited to come back with so many more great guests and topics that we hope will empower each and every one of you to step into your next stage of relationship with your family, a relationship with a partner, a relationship with God. The time is now. All right? Until next time.